And we've seen the countdown. Okay, great. We are live. Hi, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you to my guests for being here. I'm really proud to be sharing this conversation with a good friend and Qigong and Ayurveda practitioner who has overcome some really unique health challenges in her life. She's been studying and practicing Qigong for over 25 years, and she's a graduate of the Chopra Center's Ayurveda teacher training program, as well as a Supreme Science Qigong and certified Qigong instructor. And she's used Qigong and food healing to combat many severe personal health challenges, including surviving over 20 surgeries, including having her entire right leg amputated due to a potentially deadly bone infection in 2017. And as she puts it, just for her, just being alive is a miracle, which would not have happened without her dedication to holistic healing practices. So she continues to practice Ayurveda as an educator and coach, as well as practice and teach Qigong. And there's many reasons why I refer to her as a Qigong warrior. Emily Sunderland, thank you for being here this evening.
Thank you for having me, Jane.
I've been looking forward to having this conversation for a while, and as the flow of life goes, things begin in the idea world and eventually manifest in the physical world, and sometimes
Truth, yeah.
Sometimes it's not a linear path, but everything happens in its perfect time. So I'm really looking forward to talking about your own healing journey and some of the lessons that you have learned from the traditions that you studied from Qigong and Ayurveda, and how you've applied those in your own life and overcome your own challenges in the ways that you have.
I'm really excited to talk about it. And one of my passions is being able to share it to anybody that will use it. You know, sometimes, like you said, you know, sometimes it takes a while when you plant the seed. Sometimes you don't see the person actually putting it into practice for a few years. And then sometimes you don't see these, what I call the more subtle healings, but stronger, more powerful healings. Sometimes you don't see them on the physical level and, you know, right away. And our society is a lot of right away society. You know, we want to see it now, or we don't think it's working. You know, so I know one thing, I wouldn't be here with one leg with a smile on my face if it wasn't, you know, and just as happy about living life and healthy. I mean, healthy, you know? Yeah. I love food. I believe in it 100%. You know, the proof is in the pudding, you know?
There you go. There you go. So, I know this is a show where we talk about mindfulness and we shouldn't be multitasking, but I did just send you the video link in case you wanted to share that somewhere.
Okay.
I'm going to go ahead and share it on my timeline too, because I didn't get a chance to earlier. So we want to make sure this message is available to anyone it can impact. So going back to the what exactly is your origin story? I'm interested in hearing kind of how you got started, how you began on your personal healing journey, and what brought you into the world of Qigong and Ayurveda and these kind of Eastern healing practices.
It's definitely a long story, but to start with, you know, I was always naturally drawn to what I didn't know then was Eastern medicine and Eastern philosophies. And, you know, I remember in my teens wanting to read about, you know, how herbs help this or that, you know. But when I first really started getting sick, you know, which I started seeing an acupuncturist. My sister now, Dr. Sunderland, she is actually an acupuncturist. She has a PhD in Chinese medicine. So I don't know if it's in the family or what, but I went to see an acupuncturist, and I was so sick in my bed because of the infection in my bone in my hip that I was at my mother's. Was back at my mother's at an adult age, and I was in my bed and I could barely move. And this wonderful Dr. Kim would come in and he'd do this acupuncture, and then he'd teach me what he called this is medical Qigong. And I, you know, at that point, when you're really sick, you're willing to try anything, you know. If somebody says, go eat, you know, some banana and mayos and pepper and, you know, salt put together, you know, you're going to try it if you're in that much pain, you know. And so I had a pretty open mind. And I just started like doing these little things, you know, these little movements that he would tell me to do. And he'd tell me to focus, you know, whether it was white light or dark energy, and, you know, and bring this chi into the area. So that's where it started. And this is what I know. When I had my first experience of noticing that I feel better today than I did yesterday, I wonder if there's a connection. My sister during this same time, my sister came and turned me on to Jeff Primack, you know, his Qigong, his Conquering Disease Through Food. This was the paperback black and white version, you know, before he got where he is today. And I already knew, I don't know how, Dane, but I knew, like, you know those things when, like, you know it's true and you don't really know why. And it's like, I knew that food healed, and I knew that the body knew how to heal itself. I just knew this. I don't know how. I just knew it. I've always believed it. I don't remember not believing it. You know, I had a great mother. You know, she's very organically, you know, cooked, and, you know, so I don't know where that exactly came from, but I've always known it to be true. And my sister at the same time brought that black and white book, and I just started implementing like one little thing at a time, whether it was coconut oil, you know, cooking with coconut oil, or, you know, some goji berries for energy, you know, whatever it was. He had these different, like, this is what you do if you have cancer. This is what you do if you have autoimmune. And so I was, you know, beginning this morning tonic, and, you know, it had like ginseng and reishi and just these things. And all I know is that I went from not being able to want to even get up, you know, to eat, and wondering if I was going to make it to the morning, to moving around, and all of a sudden my mind started working again, you know, and I wonder if these two things are connected. So I just kept doing them. And then when I stopped, I slowly started to see the deterioration. So to me, it's a no-brainer. The proof's in the pudding. It works. So whatever reason it works, or whether, you know, Western medicine tells me it doesn't really, there's no known whatever that it works, didn't really matter to me, because it worked for me. If it was all in my mind, that was fine too. I didn't care. You know, now as I've studied Eastern philosophies, and I began Buddhist practices, you know, about 17 years ago. Then my mind was on board with the food and the little bits, just a little bit of Qigong. Like, I knew a little bit about Qigong. I didn't know Qigong, the word Qigong. I knew the word Tai Chi because I had done Shalindo before I was harmed, I really loved martial arts. So I knew a little bit about that. And I was always drawn to that thing, to that kind of thing, that essence that I just knew was real. I knew it was true and I knew it was real. And so I kept on building on that information. I love Deepak Chopra's books. I started reading them, probably at maybe 20 years old, off and on. And it's really funny how I ended up working there and then getting my Ayurvedic teachers. It's one of those, coincidental. I didn't even know that I lived around the corner from the Chopra Center when I came to California. It's just, this man that I've been reading for over a decade, anyway, so.
You serendipitously ended up moving right around the corner from the Chopra Center.
Yes.
Without even knowing.
Yes, I didn't even know. I knew he had something in Canada, and then later I found out that he had something going on in Boston, where I'm from originally. And when I went back to anyway, and the first thing I took before I even signed up for the teacher's training was his primordial sound. And that's where I learned how much meditation can manifest change in my life. I mean, I was blown away at, because I journal, I write, so I log stuff. So I can go back and read something from 5 years ago and go, oh God, I remember believing that, and kind of laugh and, and see my journey and see my progress, And the truth is I believe this, and, until I'm taken out, nothing can conquer me unless I've decided in my mind that it's okay for it to conquer me. It's all up to a choice. I can sit here and I can choose to be miserable and feel bad that I have one leg, and I'm still going to have one leg. Or I can do the best that I can with it and maybe pass on some love or some teaching to somebody and still have one leg. I mean, those seem like such obvious, which one would you choose? Right?
Yeah, well, we never really know until we're in a situation what we would choose, but hopefully.
Yes, that's true. Yeah, very true. It's also, the truth is that these things do take discipline, and sometimes we're not at that place where we have the discipline, that muscle. And all I can say about that is that if I make the choice that I'm going to start building that discipline muscle, I started with something very tiny, and it was just this little bit of, a little bit of the chi shower. I didn't know what it was called then, and a little bit of this, just that's it. I just made a commitment to do that every day. And then I built on that, because a lot of times when we're hurting or we're sick, we come to someone, we like, fix me, and they say, oh, okay, do this. And you're like, okay, I'm going to do all of that. And then we go home and we try to do it all and we crash. So I've learned how to set myself up for success now instead of setting myself up for, a crash.
Yeah, with small steps, and that's a universal principle of change and performance enhancement in any dimension of life. It's a fundamental principle of mind body mastery, and you've actually touched on several things that are just really fundamental principles of mind body mastery. Of course, having a practice like Qigong that incorporates body, breath, and mind together.
Oh, and I mentioned breath. Remind me to get back to that, but go ahead.
oh yeah, we love breathing. We love talking about breath. But you mentioned and so having that anchored in as a daily practice, even starting small, even if you don't understand what why you're doing it or what it's for, just just follow the instructions and see how it feels, and and experiment with it, and also writing certain things, not that you have to write a lot, but certain things as a as a foundational mind body mastery practice, having some kind of a personal, not even a journal, but I think of it as a logbook where you just pay attention to, for example, what did you eat yesterday? What was your energy like? What were your emotions like? What movement did you engage in? And bringing your attention to these things on a consistent basis. I recommend doing it on a daily basis in the morning, reviewing your previous day and recording certain things in a log, which for one thing, as in terms of health, wellness, and longevity, just having that mental exercise and the short term, strengthening your short term memory muscles is great on so many levels. But also bringing your awareness to kind of the cause and effect to what's actually happening in your body. And there's an analogy I think to be made with financial health and financial abundance. So many people live in a pattern where they get paid once a month, say, and then by the end of the month they don't know where all their money. What did I spend all my money on? I didn't even realize. I didn't pay attention. And of course,
example,
if,
yes.
if you're not paying, if you don't even know how you spent your money, how are you ever going to create financial abundance in your life? You have to first at least be aware of what you're spending money on in order to have autonomy and agency in that realm of your life. So in order to have autonomy and agency in the realm of mind body mastery, health, wellness, and longevity, in all the dimensions, physical, emotional, energetic, and everything, of course you have to be you have to have your awareness on these things. You have to be aware of them, and so having that daily log is a key a keystone habit that you can attach so many other health and wellness affirming habits in your life too.
That's irreplaceable. First of all, the financial thing was a perfect example because people can understand that more. It wasn't until I started writing down everything that I spent money on that I realized I was spending over $300 eating out because I wasn't preparing myself food-wise at home. You know what I mean? I didn't know I was spending almost rent. This was back in the day, but but yeah, it's so the laws that you just talked about with the finances, it's the same, whether it's on a physical, mental, spiritual, or financial level. All those laws are the same. Wherever I put my attention, it grows. Now, that can grow, it can grow in a positive way or a negative way. So I can, yeah. So, but having the honesty and the courage to say, this is where I am right now. And wow, that's kind of a little bit of an ugly picture. I don't want to stay here. But we have to be kind of courageous and be willing to look at that. And that's a hard day, but the beautiful thing is once I realize that, okay, and then say, okay, this is where I am. And then say, I'm going to take responsibility for this. I created this. Now, I'm not going to talk about, early on when we're children, okay? And I also do understand that we get the information when we get the information, and I trust that process in everybody's journey. So there is no judgment there, but as soon as I take the responsibility for that picture, then I'm empowered to change it, because if the disease in my leg, was all because of this or that, or, why was I given this hand, whatever, then I'm in this powerless victim state. So, but so that being said, yes, knowing where I am. And then the reason with the writing, there's something magical about it, I believe, because not only does it bring my attention and intention, I can, but when I write it down in black and white, I'm talking hand to paper, not computer. That's just me. Okay. Some people can do it with computer. I'm old school. I like hand to paper. And I write it down. There's something about that for me has magical, because it does. It keeps me on track. It keeps me going back to the problem, but not getting stuck there and staying in the solution. Just a little bit. I'm just going to bite this little bit here. I'm going to bite this little bit here, and then 6 months, I can go back and read something from 6 months ago and go, oh, it is working. Because I don't know what it is, but we forget. Still today, Dane, there's days when, I don't have a lot of energy, and I'll call my sister. I'm like, oh, I'm having one of those days. And she's like, Emily, do you remember a year ago, so we need people like that, sometimes, because it's easy to forget. So that's what I love about writing it. I think that's a discipline that is so important, and I will keep doing it because it has worked for me. And the other thing that has helped, that I've added, and this took years for me to really start getting this as a discipline, is I review my day. Because sometimes when I wake up in the morning, I can forget stuff. So before I go to bed, I can do little reviews that I find are important. And if I can put them on my little phone for a minute, But yeah, I agree.
Something else that you that you touched on that earlier that I think is really huge is the body's self-healing capacity, which is, I mean, something that you said you just always knew about and believed in, and really, I think we all instinctively know this, but it's obvious. Like, how could it be any other way? If the body heals itself, obviously, and but there's this. If you get down really to the philosophical underpinnings of Western medicine versus Eastern medicine, and TCM in particular, but Eastern medicine in general, the philosophical underpinnings of Western medicine are kind of that the universe is
that, go ahead.
Okay, are you good?
Is that messing up the sound?
No, you sound fine. Is that the universe is fundamentally made of inanimate matter, and your body is trying to tend towards death and decay all the time if you don't stop it and stand in the way. Whereas the Eastern view, which I'm sure is common to Ayurveda as well as TCM, is that the body wants to be healthy. Health and ideal perfect health and wellness are actually the natural state of the body, that life itself is always reaching towards, is always moving towards, to seeking as an equilibrium. So the body wants to be healthy. If you have the mindset that the body wants to be healthy versus the body wants to be inanimate matter, then it has a big shift on just the way you look at not only health and healing in general, but your responsibility and your role in the process, and the role of your mind and your consciousness, and sort of being proactive in directing the state of your body's health.
Once again, you brought up the Western and Eastern, so I'm just going to say this kind of for the record, maybe, but Western medicine saved my life when I was dying, but Eastern medicine helped me heal faster, and it saved my life too. So I believe in integrated medicine. I don't support, well, I'm not going to get into that topic, because the whole pharmaceutical and what pill for everything here, I won't get into that. But I do believe you're right, because if that shift in mindset, so I'm just okay, pretend I wasn't, even if it wasn't working, pretend, but it does. But even if it wasn't working, because of my mindset, I'm in a positive vibration, a positive mode, and I'm so much happier, but the truth is that's like, I mean, isn't that a majority of what it's about? Like, like a lot of, you know, especially with the Ayurveda and the food and oils and things like that on the, you know, how they affect us at a quantum level. And so they aren't seen right away. But if you're intuitive and you're silent with your spirit, you know they're working. You know, you talked about this thing about equilibrium. If somebody can make the decision just to try meditation for 5 minutes a day in the morning, you know, in that quiet space where healing happens, I believe that whatever they sometimes call the neutral mind, not really the gap, but there's this, your body knows where that equilibrium is, you know, and for example, in Ayurveda, if I'm healthy, my body tells me what I need to eat, whether I'm a pitta, you know, kapha or vata, the different, you know, not personality type and body types in Ayurveda.
Yeah.
But when I get off balance, then my body starts craving things for different reasons, because whether I'm addicted to sugar or caffeine or, you know, or whatever it is, you know, we get off balance. But what I know, because of times that I've been so beautifully balanced, especially in spirit, you know, in my own spirit, is that my body and my spirit or mind or whatever, it draws me to what it's supposed, I hate that word, but supposed to draw me to. Mm-hmm. If I can, you know, when I learn to trust it, you know, now when my body says, you know, when my body, I don't know, craves like a certain fruit or you know, they have the different tastes in Ayurveda, you know, when my body like saying I need something sour, you know, it's usually my digestive system saying it needs some support or whatever. But, you know, we can become so busy in the world that we just miss a lot of this. And to me, this has been the beautiful part of living is, you know, the journey. Sorry. You know, you know, that's, I don't know. It's just, to me, that's where life is, you know, and you know, oh, I have something very interesting. I don't know if you want to get into this, but, because it's kind of a little bit of a story, but this attachment to sickness, it wasn't until I shifted that things really started to manifest. There was a time when I thought I wanted to heal. And I didn't know why I kept on hitting roadblocks. Like, I know my body can heal. Why am I not healing? What's going on? Like, I know this is true. You know, what's happening? How come I keep on getting here and then something happens and, you know, so, oh gosh, there's a lot of angles to it, Dane, you know, and, you know, in the fear of overwhelming somebody, you know, that's brand new is that just start with something. And if you're given just a couple of choices, go to the one that your mind is more drawn to. Like a lot of people that I know that are bipolar or manic, they're drawn more to Qigong. And it's a kind of meditation that they can embrace more because they're moving and their mind is working on connecting breath and movement. So it's a little bit busy, but they're still starting to get in that meditative state. The guy's here at the door. So okay. Enough.
We'll roll with it.
There she goes. Okay. Yeah. So, where was I?
I know there was something at one point that you wanted to say about breath that you were really excited about.
Well, you know, I'll use the term pranayama, but the discipline of working with breath, what I do know about that is that, you know, it works and it helps. And if that's just the first place you can start, that's a great starting place. Just being aware of your breath and, you know, going from that warrior breath to the Qigong breathing, to learning how to exhale longer than you inhale, so your body starts working with the parasympathetic nervous system, not the fight or flight. Breath is really powerful because for me, because when I needed to see results, like, there's times when I was just really needed some results fast, and pranayama does do that. It's something that if you do a small practice, most likely you're going to go, oh, I feel better, like right away. Where Qigong might not be like that. Some people need to be more patient with Qigong. I didn't. I was drawn to it and I loved it immediately. I don't know why, but I just did. I don't know. But, I see that some people do struggle with that discipline. But you can't run away from your breath. Your breath is always there. You can sit down and work with your breath. You can take it's one of the easier tools to start with, and it makes
very potent.
It's so potent. So potent. Yeah.
So, there's a lot of really just really exciting topics. I know we could talk for
Right?
for a long time, but
Yeah.
in the interest of keeping this viewable, there's a few things I want to make sure that we touch on before we wrap up, including what kind of work you're doing now, and is there a way that is there a way? Do you have some resources, or are you working with people? Do you have a way for people to learn more about the things that you're teaching?
So, my energy level just became more consistent, and because I could never tell, like, was I going to wake up tomorrow and not have energy? I just have started working with, like one person here, another person here. And usually that is through my salve, because during my times where my pain was incomprehensible, like I really thought I was going to lose my mind, because I was having pain 24/7, 7 days a week, and not sleeping very well. So I chose to learn about oils and plants and things like that, and foods that help pain naturally. And so I have some clients that I work with pain management with, because eventually, Western medicine in that dire time is great, but you can't stay using those things. One, they stop working, and two, they start hurting our body. I have, I do have a little work number I have a business card, and I'm slowly building. Right now, one of my main focuses is that I'm focusing on writing. I would love to get some form of sharing through some kind of writing out there. I do have a small blog, but once again, I'm trusting in the process there. That if I don't go out seeking it too much, it'll build on itself naturally. I mean, I'm doing the footwork. Don't get me wrong, but yes, this is how I believe. Like when I run into people or I talk to you, maybe somebody will watch this show and they'll say, "Hey, Dane, can you get me in touch with her?" They can find me on Facebook. That's the kind of thing that I trust, because to me, those are the meetings that I pay attention to.
The organic process.
What?
The organic process.
Yeah, that natural process, because I know my intention and my intention, I know where they are. So I know from experience that when I'm there, the universe lines things up for me. So instead of like trying to go out and build a business right now, which I know, I need to have some flexibility. I suit up and I show up, like here tonight. Somebody gets in touch with me somehow because they need help. you know. So, but mostly I've been getting, the few clients that I have, I've been getting through my salve, which has been pretty much word of mouth.
So, as I know there are a lot of people watching who can probably who can probably kind of reflect on the whatever health challenges you might think you have. There's also blessings, like if you have two legs, that's a huge blessing, right? And there are also people watching, I'm sure, who have really significant challenges that they're working through, and just one of the things that can happen is when you have really significant health challenges, it can make it really difficult for you to even do the things that would be good for you, to learn about food practices and healing yourself with herbs and oils and movement and qigong and things like this. So for somebody is who's in that kind of position of experiencing really acute health challenges and looking to incorporate qigong or other kinds of mind body practices into their life, what are some of the biggest takeaways that you could give for someone who's looking to use qigong or mind body practices for healing themselves?
Coming from knowing what it's like to be so sick you just don't feel like you can do anything, my recommendation would be make a commitment. Maybe even if you have to start with 5 minutes a day, but make a commitment for 15 minutes a day to get information, because the wisdom part and the knowledge was important. Like I had to learn what foods helped. So whether it's go get a book on food or go get a book on breath or whatever, commit to reading 5 to 15 minutes a day. And learn a breath, or learn the Qigong bath. I mean, that's such a simple, beautiful practice that can just really feel that instant cleansing. We didn't talk about visualization, which also is another tool. But I would start with something really small that you say, this is what I tell my people, you. Okay, so if you sit and stop for a minute and you say, okay, I'm going to commit to doing blah, 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 then you need to ask yourself, okay, Emily, is this something that you're really going to be able to do? And if I say no, then I need to figure something else out. Like the part of it's being true to yourself. And like you talked about earlier, get a vision of where you really are right now. Start with one little seed, breath or whatever. Well, that one little thing will grow on itself. But the other takeaway I think that's important is we really have to be gentle with ourselves and be, that patience, because especially when you're in physical pain, because we feel like we need this to change now, So what I would say with that is start learning to control your mind, is a little bit at a time. Work on choosing what to focus on. You said it's a blessing to have two legs. I'm going to say it's a blessing to have only one. And that is because, like you said, there's a golden nugget at the end or in the journey of each and every trial or loss or, whatever. The stuff that I used to say a bad day or a bad experience, I no longer say that. But, yeah. So if you can take 5 minutes and focus on for 5 minutes, allow your mind to, you can choose and control your mind and say, I believe I can heal myself. I know I can heal myself. If that's all you can start with, that's great. And one little Qigong movement, get a simple, get on your website or something and see one of the things that you do and start with something very tiny.
Yeah, that's that's if nothing else, if nothing else, at least that start small, start with things that you can do, and start in the mind. With the mind, the breath, and the body are linked, but the mind, in terms of emotion and focus, and also knowledge and learning and education, and actually inputting information, and paying attention to what you are doing on a daily basis in terms of diet and movement, and how you're feeling energetically and emotionally, and start with something very small. If it's any kind of practice that involves relaxing and just whether you want to call, I know the word meditation scares some people away, but just relax the mind and notice what you feel inside, or just breathing, or gentle, easy movements and visualization, something that you can manage wherever you are. And yeah, as you mentioned, we do have part of my mission is to get people addicted to this stuff, to their own daily mind body practice. So we've got free videos on YouTube to help you get addicted to Qigong, as well as an online mind body mastery learning community. But overall, this is this I love the message that you are sharing, and I love the place that you're sharing it from, of just complete openness and humility and joy with the experience of being alive, and I really feel the the happiness and the childlike energy that you're radiating.
Thank you. I wanted to say something real quick about the mind thing. Even if meditation, first of all, if meditation really scares you, just 5 minutes, close your eyes and put on a primordial sound and just sit with the primordial sound for 5 minutes. That's a beginning shift instead of saying meditation. But this is really important. People must know that you've got to not, what I call falling for the okie doke. Like, you need to know is when your mind says, oh, this isn't working, don't believe it. Don't believe your mind yet, because your mind is off base now. It's been running wild for crazy. So don't believe that. Don't fall for that. It's working. It is, even if for 5 minutes, that 5 minutes you haven't focused on your sickness, it's working. And it will start to manifest physically. It will. It won't happen overnight. I'm sorry. I wish I could say it would, but it doesn't. You really have to be dedicated to your own healing.
Yeah, and it manifests more and more over time. It compounds.
And once you have that experience, oh my God, I feel that difference. Then that addiction will start kicking in. You'll start going, oh wait, it does work. It works.
Yeah. I do a little this and it feels good. I can do even more and it feels better. And that's why I invite everyone I meet to join me on this lifelong mind body mastery journey. No matter who you are, no matter where you are, I meet so many people all the time who say, I've been meaning to start doing that. I've been meaning to start meditating. I've been meaning to start practicing Tai Chi. Now, my friends, is the perfect time, and it only gets better from here.
Yeah, now is the best time. Yeah.
Great. I'm so grateful that that we got to have this conversation, and I'm looking forward to, among other things, coming up in just over 3 months now, World Tai Chi and Qigong Day, I'm helping to organize an event in San Diego. I don't know if you're going to be involved in that, but I certainly hope so. And that's something that if you we talk about World Tai Chi and Qigong Day here a lot of it. If you don't already know about this, if there's something happening close to you, there may very well be an event in your town already that you can attend and get in contact with this community in your area, with people who are using these tools, and a great resource for learning. And if there's not one already happening, then maybe you can organize one.
Yeah, that's a great idea. And yeah, I will be a part of. Yeah, I went last year with what's your
Andrew.
Andrew. He's a wonderful spirit. Good
Yeah.
guy. Yeah,
Yeah.
I look forward to the day that you and I actually get to do some qigong together.
Yeah, I know it'll be great. And Andrew and I are organizing the event in San Diego, and I'm currently away from the West Coast, but I expect to return in the course of things. So I'm looking forward to that day as well.
Me too. Good.
Great. Thank you very much, Emily. I look forward to talking again soon. Namaste.
You too. Namaste.
And hitting the button. There we go.